A newly surfaced video of Robin DiAngelo, author of the best-selling book White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism, an Orwellian cultural Marxist piece of propaganda designed to intimidate white people because we're tired of hearing black people complain about imaginary racism and things that happened 150 years ago that we had nothing to do with, and how they're disappointed in how their lives have turned out because of their own personal decisions, so they blame us. You get the point. But anyway, a newly surfaced video shows her making some very interesting statements.
And then I'm a big believer in affinity space and affinity work. And I think people of color need to get away from white people and have some community with each other. And I'll let that go and maybe see if anyone else wants to pick it up.
Oh, I'm sure Scott Adams would want to pick it up because that sounds exactly like the comments that got him canceled. But apparently they're not the only ones making such recommendations. Grand Valley State University in Michigan is planning segregated graduation ceremonies for Black students, Latino students, other non-white students, so that they don't have to share their big day with their white classmates. Oh, by the way, also there's a special graduation ceremony, of course, for the LGBTQ students. Of course, there's not a special graduation ceremony for the white students because such a thing would never even be considered. That would be racist. This is making headlines, but it's not new. Numerous universities have been doing this for many years now. White people can't even have a popular television series starring a half a dozen white people who are friends with each other without that being deemed racist. Like the creator of the popular Friends television series has apologized for the show's lack of diversity because it had an all-white main cast. Meanwhile, the city of San Francisco had put together what they call the African American Reparations Advisory Committee, which is now going to make their presentation to the city proposing $5 million in reparations per black person. Paying them a dime is completely idiotic. We've more than compensated through welfare programs and other social safety nets. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of white people died in the Civil War in order to free the slaves. Where's their reparations? Not $50,000. Not like, hey, here, just go buy a new car and please just stop complaining about white people. $5 million. Meanwhile, this idiotic article has gone viral this week. Is coffee racist? How drinking coffee perpetuates white supremacy. I'm not sure when this article was published, but this concept has been around for some time. Here's one from about 3 years ago. Rooted in racism, coffee's bitter origins. For many of us, coffee is essential. We can't imagine waking up without it, let alone navigating midday slumps or social catch-ups. It helps forge connections and brings us closer to those we care about, stimulating our minds while creating moments of pure sensorial experience. As a nation, our collective love is growing practically by the minute, evidenced by the steady increase in cafes, roasters, bottled brands, and overall consumption of the last decade. Blah, blah, blah. Despite the bright spot coffee can bring in our lives, it has a dark side, a sinister past that has spurred a troubling present. During centuries of global coffee production, a common theme has emerged: the oppression of people of color for profit. It just never ends. And as you know, up until very recently, most mainstream political pundits, the brand name conservatives and members of Congress, were afraid to denounce anti-whiteism because that would have been used as evidence against them that they were racist for not bending over for Black Lives Matter. But anybody who's been watching my channel for any amount of time knows that I've been tracking it for many, many years. You may recall this 2017 article in the New York Times written by a black woman who asks, "Can my children be friends with white people?" And she goes on to air her grievances about white people and says basically that she told her children that they shouldn't be friends. Scott Adams got his famous Dilbert comic completely canceled within 24 hours after simply stating his preference for a certain kind of community that he prefers to live in and the people that he prefers to choose to surround himself with. But only black people are allowed to say such things because of their black privilege and the systemic anti-whiteism in the once great United States of America. I can't even show this clip of an angry black man harassing this nice white couple and their toddler while on a subway because it'll just take me a half an hour to bleep out all of the curse words. Go and check my Gab page or my Truth Social. Things are so crazy that Rachel Dolezal, the first famous transracial person, remember her, the white girl who identifies as black? She was just at a signing ceremony in Arizona alongside the Democrat governor, Katie Hobbs, when she signed into law the Crown Act, which makes it illegal for a teacher, for example, to stop a student from having a 3-foot afro whose hair is blocking the view of other students behind them. So they can't discriminate against such a student. Or if you are a business owner, like if you own a restaurant and somebody has a 3-foot afro, you can't discriminate against them by telling them just to maybe tone it down a little bit because it looks weird and it's getting in the way of the work activities. That's discrimination. There is some good news, however. Carol Swain, who is a retired professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University, just denounced anti-whiteism and used the proper terminology.
Those people that argue that it's impossible for blacks to be racist against whites, that's ludicrous. The first thing I'd ask, like, what are you smoking? Of course you can be racist. It's always been okay to call white people crackers and honkies. At least that's what they call them in the South. And that would be a form of anti-whiteism. But now the dictionary, actually has a definition for anti-whiteism. Prejudice or discriminating against or hostile towards white people. And I believe that's positive to have a definition, a dictionary definition, because a discrimination can take place against white people. It can take place against any group.
Can take place against white people, often does. But I don't know what dictionary she's reading. Maybe they finally added it to some online dictionaries. If not, well, it's long overdue. By the way, you can save 15% off of my I Love White People shirt from markdice.com, or my new Conspiracy Theorists Were Right shirt, or any of my awesome designs by using the promo code Conspiracy15 at the checkout through Friday. I didn't come up with the promo code, my t-shirt distributor did, but it'll work on anything. So head on over to markdice.com and get your new Conspiracy Theorists Were Right shirt, or an I Love Global Warming shirt, a Liberalism Find a Cure shirt, or any of my awesome designs, all available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Enter the promo code Conspiracy15 at the checkout to save 15% this week, and check them out.